Someone sent me a message. I think someone sent me a message. Something Frederick Douglass said, and he said he would. I think he would. And I'm paraphrasing it, so forgive me if I'm not saying it exact because I don't have it in front of me. He said that it was asked, what can we do for the Negroes? Frederick Douglass was asked that question, and he said nothing. Do nothing for the Negroes. Let the Negroes stand on their own 2 feet, or let them fail. And that is such a powerful, 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 powerful statement. And I'm learning that even more so. I'm just now really coming into the depths of that. And I've come to realize there are exceptions to the rule. I want you to hear me saying that. But the worst thing you can do for another person is to do something for them. That's the worst thing you can do, is to do something for them. Because you take away their ability and desire to do for themselves. And they become angry at you even about that because they lose their way and they're now dependent on you. And there is a right way of doing something for people where you don't have that kind of negative impact. And then another thing I've come to realize is this, even with anybody, family member, friends, or enemies, never ever, we need enough humility about ourselves to let people go through what people gotta go through. Whether it's our kids, husband, wife, friends, or enemy. You got to, and that's what you're talking about, you got to let people go through what they gotta go through. You can't change anyone, just as you can't change yourself. And it's, I almost use the word evil to prevent someone else from going through what they gotta go through. I know for a fact that what I've gone through over the last 25 years, especially 23 years of starting Bond, I needed to go through everything I've gone through and still going through dealing with stuff. I needed that. And I don't care how painful it seemed or whether I'm losing something or not, I needed that. It is making me a better person. It really is. It's causing me to draw closer to God. It's slowing me down so I can draw closer to Him to get to know Him even better. It's slowing me down from being so active in brainy stuff to really get to know Him, to know that quiet, still voice. And the more I get to know Him, the better I feel. It's so interesting. It's like letting go of everything. And so when you get in the way of somebody going through something, you're preventing all that from happening. Because sometimes it takes pain and suffering and loss for a person to stop and say, what am I doing here? You know, what's wrong? And once you start questioning yourself, that's when you'll get to know God. But if you get in other people's way or allow other people to get in your way of knowing God, like watering down the truth, or if you're lazy and don't want to work, you always talk about borrowing money and hunger, you get in the way of that, you're hurting the person. You really are. So you got to learn to get out of people's way. A humble person, get out of another person's way. An ego-driven person, stay in the way of that person or people. And it's awful because they prevent you from knowing God. Let me take the lady way in the back there, Rob. And then I want to say this. Blah, 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 blah. Somehow I remember. I'll come back to it. It just left. It came and left. But it was so good. Hopefully it'll come back. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I used to think you were being too harsh to people.
Oh, that's what I wanted to say. Hold your thought, don't forget it. So after this last conversation, because I get it all the time, I've been asking the Lord, how can I say it? You know, if there is another way, if I am being too harsh, if there's something that I don't see and I should say it another way, I don't know how to say it unless you give me to say it. But He won't give me another way. He will not give me another way. Sometimes I think, well, let me say this a little nicer or something, it's kind of sugarcoat. It don't feel right saying that. It doesn't feel right saying that. It won't even come out right. Only if I think about doing it, sugarcoat it a little bit. I even tried this thing because I see professional experts doing it. Okay, I understand where you're coming from. I know I hear you saying, and I feel like a fool. I feel like an idiot doing that. It's so phony. You know? But I have tried. But the one thing I noticed about the people who complain about me, the way I speak about what the situation is, they always say, you make me, it feels like it. It feels like it, you know. And I realize I can't do it. Their feelings have nothing to do with me. It's something about themselves that they need to overcome, you know, because it's their feeling. I don't feel that way, you know. And if somebody can make me feel a certain way, I know now it's not their fault that they're making me feel this way. Something is wrong with me for feeling that way. So it's an opportunity to check myself out so I can get over why were they able to make me feel a certain way. I don't want them to stop making me feel that way, because if I don't get over that, somebody else, once they leave, somebody else going to make me feel that way, and I'm controlled by them. The other point I want to make to Black Americans, and any Americans, but especially blacks, if you don't love the white man or the white woman, you don't love nobody. You don't have love, and Black Americans do not have love for white folks. I don't care what they say, they do not have love for white people. And I know that feeling of not loving white people, but loving blacks or thinking I love black people, all in the name of Jesus. I had no love for the whites or the blacks, or my daddy or my mama or my sister or my brother or my kids. Nobody. I had no love. You can't love certain people and then don't love certain people. That's ridiculous. But most of the people who complain, they first would say that they were Christians and they hate the white man, and they hated me because they disagreed with me. They don't even love me. How can you love somebody, and how can you say you're of God and not have love? Let's say that I am wrong. Let's say I'm out there, I make a statement, I'm wrong. If you had real love, you would have compassion for me and patience so that maybe you can help me overcome it. You know what I'm saying? But to curse and go off and just threaten and all that, that's no love. And then they would say, I'm going to pray for you. In the end, I'm just going to pray for you. I'm like, no, don't pray for me. I had a police officer, a man who said he was involved in enforcement down in Sanford, Florida, called a radio show that I was doing an interview on. And that man was so mad, he said, you better be glad you're not here in Sanford, Florida. I said, why? This is coming from an officer who happened to be black. I said, why? Because I wanted to get it on radio, his threat, right? I wanted to get it on tape. He said, because you would need a bodyguard. I said, wow, you are an officer of the law. You can't say that to me. But his anger had him doing that. We're going to try to get that interview and put it up on the site so you guys can hear it. But you know what I'm saying? And he said to me in the end of that conversation, I'm going to pray for you. So now you're going to threaten me and then you're going to pray for me? Do you want me alive or dead? And I said to him, no, sir, do not pray for me. I don't want your prayer. You are of your father, the devil. You're going to be praying to Satan for me? I'm trying to get away from Satan now. But, I'm putting this out there because I want Black Americans to know that you're being used in your anger. You're being used and people are taking advantage of you. Our battle is spiritual. God said that we should love our enemies. I feel as good about my good friends. I feel the same way about my kids that I feel about my enemy. There's no feeling, no different in the way I care about them. The Jacksons, the Sharptons, and everybody. I love them just like I love everybody that I know. I have no different of feeling about any of them. And that's the truth, so help me. I just want Americans, I want human beings to wake up by overcoming anger so that they can become a free people. I want them to see what's controlling them. I want them to know that there's another way of living. And it has nothing to do with physical, but everything to do with the spiritual. Because that's what God did to me. He allowed me to see that. I'm a blessed man for that. I no longer identify with the color. I no longer identify with male or female. I identify, thank God, with what is right. And see, I was thinking this morning, it's amazing how God let me see that. I'm like, I can hardly remember how I was before. And that's weird to me. I can hardly remember how I was before. And I didn't know you could live this way. Now, I still know that I'm a little country boy from Alabama, but I can hardly remember how I was before. Because I don't have that anger. I don't have that conflict. I don't hate my fellow man. I can take it or leave it. I can let you come or go. I don't care. And yet I do care because I want you to be free. Christ came and made it possible that every man and woman can be free. And so why let other people control you, make you angry? If George Zimmerman was 100% wrong, that's no reason to hate him. No reason at all. You pray for the man, pray for his family, and wish him well. Go to court and let the court decide. You move on with life. And you should love George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin as much as you love the 500 black people who were killed last year in Chicago by other black people. Or the white people who are being shot down right now by other black people. You should love them all the same. There shouldn't be any distinction between the love. That doesn't mean you don't take action. If you need to go to court, go to court. But the love should always be there if you're of God. I'm just saying. Anyway, go ahead, sir.
I can't see the love always being there.
So what now?
Like if you had like your brother in one hand and Al Sharpton in the other, and they were both hanging over the cliff, and you could save one. You like.
Well, now that Al Sharpton is thinner, it may be easier to pull him back up. You know what? That's a decision that will have to be made in the moment.
Yeah.
I couldn't make that decision right now. I would have to be. That's why you have to be free from anger, because right now the ego would say, "Well, I'll drop Al Sharpton and save my son." You know what I'm saying? But that may not be the best thing. In that moment, God will show you what is best. But the ego would tell you right now, Al Sharpton is evil. He's doing this and doing that. Drop him. But God ways are not our ways. His mindset is not our mindset. Our mindset is very selfish. So the selfishness would want to save my son over Sharpton if they both were hanging over a cliff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would like to have be with God like that, where I don't have to make a decision. He'll make it for me. That would be great.
And that is so there for us. But you got to overcome this thing, the mind.
Yeah, I was going to say, I used to think you were being too harsh. Like, you weren't being too harsh, but you were making people mad. And I thought, if you make people mad, they're not going to listen to you. And then I realized, like, that's when they do listen to you. It's like when you just put it out there. They're not going to listen to you if you're sugarcoat. They're just like, oh, you're like somebody else. You know, like everybody else.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
So you used to get mad at me? Did I make you mad
I didn't get mad
too?
at you. I just thought, like, how are we going to get people to the church if you're talking like this?
Oh, yeah.
How are we going to raise funds if you're talking like this?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I hear that a lot.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody going to donate to you and you talking like that. You know, how you go? You got to cool it down. And when they tell me that, you know, I'm thinking maybe I do, but I can't see how to cool it down. Because my words seem so much like love. You know, it seems like love to me. Look like people would say, right on, Jesse, thank you, I appreciate that. But that is not the case. A whole lot of people are receiving it, but most are not. I understand, I'm lightweight, I ain't nothing compared to Christ. I now see why they took him to the cross and hung him up. You know, we done had enough of you. You run around here telling everybody the truth and calling us names and liars and backbones and talking about we are of our father the devil. We don't have enough of you. We're going to strain you up. And, you know, just imagine that, what it must have been for him, because he was pure at heart, innocent of nothing, guilty of nothing. And he's running around town telling the truth. And I'm guilty of things. I have sinned, you know. And I'm telling the truth, they want to kill me. How you want to kill somebody? And I'm like, I don't want to hurt you. You don't agree with me, and I don't agree with you, but I want you to live. Yeah, but I want you to die. What kind of stuff is that? All in the name of Jesus.